And I think it's too much of like, well, I run out there and I shoot, targets with my snapshot 10,000 times.
Right.
Okay. You're incrementally getting better, incrementally. But can you outthink me on a paintball field when there's 5 other people and a lot of scenarios going on? Probably not. So your 1% snapshot isn't the difference maker. I promise you.
Yeah.
Your 4.240 speed, it's not the difference maker. All these things definitely help. They're tools in the toolbox. But if you don't have the full kit, and most of that kit's of mental, tenacity, field vision, and these types of things, I mean, you're just going to continue to get beat by the old salts that kind of know what's up.
Paintball nerd.
Today's guest on Paintball Nerd started playing paintball in 2001. He went pro in 2004 with Avalanche. He's also played with the Naughty Dogs. He currently plays for X Factor. He's got 10 plus pro wins. He coaches several teams at X Factor Park. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Colt Roberts.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Colt, man, great to have you. How you doing?
Doing great, man. I could complain, but nobody usually listens, so just kind of, mosey on down the road. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Super happy to have you on. You've been in paintball for a long time. I know that you're a staple in Texas. Tell me about your coaching efforts in Texas right now.
I think it's kind of a natural progression for me. I'm getting a little long in the tooth, if you will. I've been playing pro for quite some time, and there will come a day when I'm just no longer wanting to put in that kind of effort and work on myself. But I do love the sport. I do love the industry, and I've coached in every sport I've ever played, and so this is just kind of the natural progression. So there's several local teams that I'm coaching out of X Factor Park and around surrounding Texas areas, and I have plans to put in an entire training program that I've started to design, that I've kind of tested on a few of the teams locally, and yeah, that's just kind of where I see myself going when I hang up the cleats and quit playing. So I'll keep doing that. I love it. I'm passionate about it. Texas is obviously the mecca right now of paintball. It used to be California, but I think for sure, Texas is kind of up in the mix now as maybe the top spot around the nation.
Yeah, and before it was California, I think it was Texas again, right? Like it kind of flip flops between the two.
Right. Yeah. I mean, well, I don't know. When I started playing, like, there wasn't really there was great amateur level teams, but we didn't have a pro footprint. So it was kind of the way it was kind of paved. I think maybe Rabikoff and those kind of guys had an old pro team, the old Houston Heat. Maybe they were pro back in the day, but after that, it was kind of desolate when I was here. So, we had Blake Pruitt, the Garcia brothers out of Dallas, Lucian Blackburn, these kind of guys that went on and played for out-of-state pro teams. And then, of course, I was shortly thereafter that. But as far as the actual pro scene in Texas, it was kind of non-existent. So we kind of paved the way for that. And then X Factor broke through and became the first pro team of our era out of Texas. And then, we had AC Diesel or Dallas after that, then AC Diesel, Paintball Fit, Houston Heat, I guess you can quasi say that they're kind of a Texas team, I guess, maybe not really, but there are a couple guys. Well, I mean, they have what Nico Hyde playing on the team at one time was a Texas guy, and then Devin Stewart was a Texas guy, and then Ryan Smith, when he's playing or not playing, is a Texas guy, but that was really it. The bulk of that team is you got a couple Russians on the team. You've got, Sam Monville and Ryan Moorhead. They're Northeast guys. So, it's not Texas. I don't know where he's from, but not Texan. And so they're just kind of a hodgepodge. So I wouldn't call them an official Texas team as far as like someone that's born and bred Texas and built the team from homegrown talent. And obviously us and Diesel have started to branch out and not be completely Texas talent. But when we first paved the way to pro, X Factor was a 100% Texas team.
Best kids in Texas.
You know it.
I see that you recently coached Elite to a first place victory.
I did, yeah. Elite has a guy named Doug Bryant that plays on the team. He's the captain. Doug's been playing paintball a long time. I've known him a long time, but I had no familiarity with any of his other players. I got a random message from Dixon Yang, our coach. Elite had asked him to coach. He was unavailable. And he's like, hey, maybe Colt would help you out. And they hit me up. I was like, yeah, I'd love to. We went out there in the 108-degree Texas heat with 160-degree turf, no wind, dying. But yeah, they were a great group of guys, a lot of talent that I didn't know was on the team. They really surprised me. And we ended up coming back from some huge deficits. and we were down, I think it was 3-0 with 4 minutes in a race to 4 in our quarterfinals
Wow.
match. And it being so hot, the whole name of the game is preserving your body, is preserving your energy. And man, we had to rattle off 4 points in that amount of time and did it. But my guys were completely gassed after that. So just getting them to dig deep and realize they had another gear somewhere in there to grind through the semis and the finals to win was quite awesome. And they haven't won in years. They're kind of a middle of the pack, quarterfinal, sometimes semifinal kind of team, but I don't think they've won in quite some time. So it was pretty emotional for them and pretty awesome for me, and especially on a whim and not knowing any of the players, learning their strengths and weaknesses on the fly, blind layout. Luckily, I refereed the field the entire day before, so I kind of had an idea how everything was playing. But I didn't know any of the players. I didn't know their strengths and weaknesses, what they could and couldn't do, and so it was a learning experience. And they didn't know my coaching style, obviously, or how I was going to be.
Right.
So it was kind of neat to just jump in the mix, and it's like, hey, we're going to figure this out and learn from each other, and go out there to put a win on the board was quite satisfying.
How does it feel to win behind the clipboard versus winning on the field?
To me, better.
Really?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I've been playing almost, what is it, 2001, over 20 years total playing pro, almost 20 years. And I've done it. I've won in Europe. I've won domestically. I've won on ESPN. I've won 10 mans. I've won X Balls. I've won 7 mans. I've won Huntington Beach. I've won World Cup. I mean, that's the pinnacle of what you want to win in professional paintball. Huntington Beach, World Cup. I mean, those are the two. And I've won 2 Huntington Beaches and a World Cup in pro. I've done it. I've kind of done anything I've wanted to do in my career. I have achieved every goal that I'd set for myself. I could have retired years ago and been happy with the career that I've had and proud of it. But there's something different about showing someone else that they can do it and getting the best out of somebody and encouraging them and building them up. Especially when you can see doubt or just they don't think they have it in them, and you can somehow draw it out of them and bring the best of them. And then when they go on to win, just to see the gratification on their face, it just makes you feel so good inside that you had a little bit of piece of that. Obviously they're still out there doing it, and there's so much influence a coach would have, but you can't help but feel that you brought something different out of them, or pushed them a little further than they would have pushed themselves, or made little adjustments here and there that made the difference. And that's just, to me, I'm sure you're a father. I don't have kids, but I'm sure that teaching your children to do something and then they do it, and you're just like, man, I taught you to do that. I'm so proud of you. How gratifying is that to you versus
Yeah.
winning a tournament or making a pro team? I mean, I think it's probably way more gratifying to teach a little one to do something.
Colt, you kind of sound like a guy that's about to retire.
Oh, no. I mean, maybe number 45 at 45. That's kind of like what's in my head. 45 years old, number 45, good to go. As long as I don't start playing bad and just don't have it anymore. I'm not going to Brett Favre it. Like, when I don't have it, I'm done, and I'll know that. And but I just don't think I'm there right now. I feel like I'm still playing good. The team's performing well. I was promoted. We finally instituted a captain on X Factor this year, and so I was voted captain of the team, which is a huge honor and responsibility. And there's still things for me to do.
I think so. I mean, certainly you can play into your 40s, well into your 40s. The industry has proven that, and you can do so successfully. In fact, some of the most successful players are just that, the guys with that have been in it for a couple decades.
Right.
So, but I think it's comforting to know that, when you decide that you're going to hang up your cleats, that you have something that you're passionate about that excites you, and you can still win,
Yeah, definitely. And I think that, giving back, especially with the state that paintball is, it troubles me to see that there are the Ryan Greenspans and the Alex Frazies and these and myself and Mark Johnson and all these cats that we're well into our 40s. There's hardly any other athletic pro sport that guys our age are still at the top level and not being taken out by 25-year-old athletic phenoms. And why is that? That's the question I always ask.
Because it's not just physical.
It's not
the
just
game's
physical.
not just physical.
Correct. And I think it definitely has something to do with that, but I think it also has to do with the training and how people are looking at the game and how they're learning the game. And I think that that's something that needs to be worked on. And I think that I can do that. I can start teaching people what kind of skills they need to develop. They need to be playing people that are better than them. They need to focus on the technical side of analyzing a field, of knowing situational gameplay, field vision, these types of things, the intangibles. And I think it's too much of like, well, I run out there and I shoot, targets with my snapshot 10,000 times. Okay.
Right.
You're incrementally getting better, incrementally. Maybe I'll go snap shoot with you and you can snap me out. But can you outthink me on a paintball field when there's 5 other people and a lot of scenarios going on? Probably not. So your 1% snapshot isn't the difference maker. I promise you. Your 4.240 speed, it's not the difference maker. All these things definitely help. They're tools in the toolbox. But if you don't have the full kit, and most of that kit's of mental, tenacity, field vision, and these types of things, I mean, you're just going to continue to get beat by the old salts that kind of know what's up.
Yeah, and I believe it's because the I call it ancient secret knowledge, and I believe that the ancient secret knowledge is obtained by playing paintball or growing up playing paintball in the woods. It teaches you things that you can't necessarily learn on an X-ball field, and it's a hypothesis, but I think there's there's a lot of credibility to it, because if you look at the players that began playing paintball in the woods, I mean,
I didn't, by the way.
You did not?
No.
You started
But
playing
continue.
paintball in 2001?
I did. Yeah. It was 10 man on Hyperball at the time. That was kind of like the meta.
Well, so it's 10 man on Hyperball. It doesn't necessarily have to be woods, but it's a different format. Like
definitely
if you started playing paintball out of the X ball format, you learned certain things that
100%
couldn't otherwise be learned.
Agreed.
Right?
Yes.
So yeah, I call it the ancient secret knowledge, and I think it's hard to get that when you're going point after point and you're running to your bunker and you're shooting this spot and that spot, and you get so caught up in your job that you lose a little bit of the creativity.
Oh, 100%. I agree with you, definitely. And part of fixing that is, I'll do Discord calls with my teams, and we'll virtually walk a field. For instance, when a field comes out, I'll go practice the field, and then that next week we'll Discord walk it on Guns Up and look at all the shots and scenarios and positional, bunkers to be in, to close games, to fend off attack, these types of things. So I think that the classroom aspect of it, which is not fun and nobody wants to do because you don't get to shoot your gun and have the fun stuff, but it's the work, right? And it's work that puts you at that next level. And so I'm a firm believer in, yes, you're correct. There's certain things you cannot learn while you're out there playing points against another team. You can't, because you're just so focused on, I'm going to run out to the corner and I'm going to gun battle this guy, and then I'm going to try and dive in the snake. And it's like you do that over and over and over. And a lot of times you're playing lesser players. That's kind of a common motif now too, is that I'm going to go out there and be the X Factor bully. Let me go beat up on all the D5 kids or D4 kids. You know what I mean? It's like people don't challenge themselves anymore. When I first started playing paintball, the teams that I played against were Texas Storm, Addicted, Mock Snicks, and Brotherhood. And these are like old school, like dudes that'll take you in the parking lot and beat you up if you mouth off to them. There's a certain level of respect. They're going to shoot you into the ground, and they just taught you toughness. And you went out there and you got better because you had to. Either you got better or you quit. It's like they're going to beat you in the dirt. Exactly. Yeah. They beat you into the dirt, and it's like you either get better or you quit. But challenging yourself against that, you start to figure things out, and you start to analyze, well, what did he do to better me in that situation? What are they doing that makes them so much better than me? And you start analyzing this stuff, as opposed to if you go out there and you're the schoolyard bully, you're just beating everybody up, you learn nothing. You don't get any better. In fact, you get worse, because you start developing poor tendencies and getting away with stuff that you'll never get away with in the pro league. And I think that that's just stifling growth. People aren't willing to do the work, number one. Number two, they don't have the knowledge, like you said, the game knowledge, and that's because they don't study. All they do is go out there and ram points all day, and they go home. They don't run drills, so their fundamental skills are poor. And like, that's why there's still guys in their 40s dominating the pro league.
Yeah. Speaking of classrooms and learning, what is paintball? Is it Kumite or
Kumite?
Kumite.
Yeah, Kumite. So Kumite is like loosely translated. It's a Japanese term. It's basically sparring, if you will. So if you ever
Ah,
watched old school Bloodsport with Jean-Claude Van Damme,
sure.
he goes
Yeah.
to the Kumite. That is the fight. Yeah, exactly. So that is kind of, I'm a martial artist. I'm a black belt in Taekwondo.
Oh, no
I'm
kidding.
currently a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu student, in which I love. Jiu-Jitsu is my new passion. So I'm studying Jiu-Jitsu, and I've always loved the belt system. So the concept is, and will be when I get more time to actually focus on it, is that you'll have a belt ranking, which will be a headband of a certain color. And as you progress through the curriculum and learn certain techniques, that you'll test out of being a white band into a next level. And it'll be a representation of the skills that you've mastered under my tutelage, if you will. So
Got
that's
it.
really what I want to do when I'm done playing, is 100% focus on that, have a set curriculum of, these certain fundamental skills that you will learn at the white band level. You will do them a certain amount of times. And once you've completed this certain determined amount of classes of those core skills, you'll be tested. After you get that test, you'll move on to the next level. And then when you go to the next level, it'll be more situational stuff, higher level paintball skills, as opposed to just snap shooting, maybe stepping out into a dead zone, edging a back center, and then making a read option. Am I going to do
Mm,
this or am I going to do that? Which is a very hard concept for lower level players to understand, because you're running out there, you're shooting. Number one, you're in a dead zone. Number two, there's paint flying back at you. Number three, and now I have to make a decision. If Zyzek does this in the back center, I do that. As opposed to, if he's looking this way, then my audible is to do this. You know what I mean? So you
yeah.
have to have all these things going through your mind in a high stress environment. And if you can't do a basic edge on a back center or stand in a dead zone, if you can't do that, how can I expect you to make a read option after that? You know what I mean? So my idea is just to break it down into basic fundamental building blocks. And
Mm.
they're 1 hour sessions, and it's one technique with a few couple drills focused on one technique, as opposed to you coming to a pro clinic, which I've done ton of them, which I hate. They're fun, but I hate them because you got guys that come out, they pay an exorbitant amount of money. My stuff is going to be very affordable, but you pay a lot of money. You come out, and it's like, all right, you're going to do 15 drills today. You're going to learn running and shooting. You're going to learn diving, all this different stuff, and you're going to walk out of there and you'll be like, information overload. Like, holy shit, I just learned 800 techniques. I remember one, and I'm not
Yeah.
proficient in any of them. And I just don't
Right.
think that that's a proper way to learn, especially early on, because you need to have the building blocks of a solid foundation in anything before you can go on to more advanced techniques.
I don't think any class environment or group environment is sufficient. I think you need someone to understand your tendencies, your weaknesses,
Definitely.
your strengths, and make it more of a one-on-one thing.
Right. And that's
Um,
also another idea that I had, would be to, like, especially if I wanted to start doing something remote, would be like, hey, I'm going to send you a set of drills to run on your time when you can. I want you to go run these drills, videotape it, send it back to me. Then we'll get on a Discord call and we're going to analyze what you're doing here.
yeah.
And we can point out and you can see what you're doing, as opposed to being told. You may not think, you're like, oh, I don't do that. Colt says I'm chicken winging my arm. I don't do that. And then you look at the video and it's like, you're doing it. You see it right there. And it's a lot easier to understand when you can actually see what you're doing. So I think that that's another beneficial thing that, again, when I have more time and I can focus on it, besides playing jujitsu, doing my real life job and the things I'm doing, when I have more time and I can just dedicate myself to this, I really want to go all out and make something cool.
That'd be amazing. You just think about when you're coming up and you're trying to become pro. If you had a resource like that, if you had a pro player that said, you know what, this weekend, go practice, go play games, and set up a camera, and then send me the footage.
Yep.
And I'll tell you, look, you could have ran through right here. Look, you could have blocked out this guy right here, and you could have edged this guy out.
Yep.
And if I show you every opportunity on the field that you missed, I mean, that's exploding my growth curve,
Right.
So I think you got something there, and that's exciting. It's cool.
I think it's cool, and obviously it's not for the money. I've done well in my regular career, and I always focused on having work career first, and paintball was always secondary. So I'm set to not make a lot of money off this by design. I just want it to be something that pays me a bit for my time and expertise, but makes it very affordable for everybody, so that anybody can afford to do it. And it'll be a way for me to give back to the community, and obviously, like you said, give them something that you and I never had when we started playing.
Yeah.
I had nothing. I was like, I went out there and learned all the techniques on my own by playing people better than me and watching other professional players and saying, oh, I like what he does, or I like what he does, and just building myself by just analyzing everything myself. But but maybe not everybody's good at doing that kind of learning, you know?
Yeah.
Some people can handle that. Some people can go out and be like, I'm a self-motivator. I'm a self-starter. I can analyze myself. I can take a real good perspective of myself. Other people don't learn that way, and they need a different platform in which to gather knowledge. And I think that's
What
the
do you
key.
do for a living?
I'm in sales in the electrical distribution industry, so I sell electrical and automation stuff. Not glamorous, but it's lucrative. I work mostly oil and gas, so just anything electrical that you imagine would go in the oil and gas industry. That's what I sell.
And they let you play paintball, so it works out.
They do, yeah. They've been very well. You know, I have my vacation time, but they're cool with me splitting it out. I don't have to take a solid 2 weeks and say, "There's my 2 weeks. I'm out of here." So I'll take a couple days here and there to play my career, and yeah, they've let me do it. I've been here 10 years, and it's been good.
Well, tell us about your favorite memory in paintball, Colt. Like, and give us something that really would embarrass one of your teammates.
Ooh, oh man,
So
no, I can't. Yeah, I
We've
have
all got 'em.
Yeah, I've got one real bad one, but I can't do it. I won't do it to him. I can't. Yeah.
Just
No.
tell us who it is that you're not going to tell us a story about.
Lucian Blackburn.
Ah, Lucian.
One
He's
of my
probably not
favorite
listening.
people. He's
but,
probably not
yeah.
listening, but he's one of my best friends. I love him. You know, his kid comes to me if something were to happen to him and his wife. So I mean, it's a different level of brotherhood that Lucian and I have. We've never played on the same team, but we've loved each other from day one and kept in touch, even though he's completely out of the scene. I actually wore
Please tell him I said hello, dude.
I will.
I haven't seen that guy in forever.
I will. I wore his 713 headband that he wore won the NXL with Trauma. Remember the 713? He had a headband with a star on it. I wore that at the last event. He found it. He sent me a picture. He's like, "Look what I found." I was like, "Send that to me. I'm going to put another win on it." This was right before the last event. And man, stars aligned and it was going. And then, dude, I was like calling him, texting. I was like, "Hey, dude, I'm about to put a win on this. We're playing for first and second." And then we lose in overtime to a 1-on-1. And I was like, man, almost like a great Babe Ruth call shot. Like, you know.
Well, still congratulations on that second place. That's nothing to shake your finger at.
It's not, but when you go back and review what should have and could have happened, it's very easy to shake a finger at that.
Sure.
It's like, man, that's a rough one, you know? Like,
yeah,
that's a rough one. Just a lot of different things.
You know, celebrate all wins, I guess, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You know,
but expect more of yourself at the same time, you know?
Yeah, I know second place is it's a hard pill to swallow because you're so close, right?
Especially when it comes down to a 1-on-1 and a double overtime. That's a real hard pill to swallow.
Was it double overtime?
I mean, well, technically, because we went to overtime, stalemate at the point, and then overtime 1-on-1.
Yeah, so it would be double overtime.
And that whole thing was kind of like a wild pit scenario that happened with the overtime, with the 1-on-1 point, and it was just like, it was chaos, and it didn't go the way it should have gone.
What do you mean? I missed it. Well, I was there, but I don't know what chaos you're talking about.
So, well, first of all, we spotted them a point or two in regulation. Okay, so you take that out, we win the tournament. So we screwed up, gave some high body situations away, whatever.
You guys were up 2 right off the bat, right?
Yep.
Boom, boom.
Yep.
Okay, and then they came back. Boom, boom.
Yep.
Then you went back and forth again.
Yep. Then it's tied up. Go to overtime.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then it's a what is it? A 4-on-3. Me and Billy in the snake, and I know Keith Brown is in the snake in front of me. I'm waiting, talking to Billy, like, we know that this guy, if I clear this guy, this is the game. So finally, go through, clear Keith.
Yep.
Well, then if you look, there's a video that if you watch, and I get it, it's tough to referee these things, but his gun is literally down. I shoot him on the very first ball. The second I wrap that 50, then he picks his gun up and shoots me. No call, no penalty.
Live, it looked bang, bang.
It does, but okay, so yes, agreed. But when I'm sitting here posturing the whole time as a referee, and I ref, you know exactly what's bound to happen, right? And there's zones that you have. So if my zone is to watch one guy and your zone is to watch the other guy, I should only be watching that guy. And if his gun's down and he gets shot and he picks his gun up, it's a penalty. It doesn't matter if it's bang, bang, because I'm watching you. And I'm like, Zyzek's gun's down, he gets shot and he does this. Penalty, period.
Sure.
You shot a guy, that's a major. You don't shoot a guy playing on minor, whatever.
Yeah.
Either way, it doesn't happen. So again, we're 3-on-2 and we own the snake. And then Billy immediately gets shot over the top on a crossfield, pop in the top, like, and then it's like, mistake again. And it's just like all these things transpired. Well, then it comes to the overtime point. And obviously it's a long, long overtime point that goes to time. TJ's coming off the field. Coach is like, get TJ ready to go in. And TJ's like, put Tom in for whatever reason. I don't know. He may have been tired, whatever the case was. But and Tom wins one-on-ones constantly in practice against other teams, against us. I mean, the dude is unreal at one-on-ones. But one thing that wasn't realized is that Tom hadn't played in 4 or 5 points in that game. So he's cold.
Yeah.
He's never been to a pro final ever.
Wow.
It's just a lot of pressure to put on a guy and unfair,
sure
really.
It is.
But there's a minute 30. And so TJ, coach had it all in his mind about how he wanted to play that scenario, right? And with the way it all transpired, it didn't happen the way it should have. And then we sent Tom out cold and like, hey, guy, you haven't played, but, go win the tournament. No big deal. It was just unfair to him. You know what I mean? And Jacob is he's done this before. He's one of the best one-on-one players in the league, period.
That's what he lives for.
Exactly. He's won another tournament in the same situation playing one-on-ones. So it's just like, it's just unfortunate that it went down that way. You know what I mean? With a minute and a half to make that snap decision, TJ tired or not ready or whatever. We only have a minute and a half. And, he says, put Tom in, and instantly the team's, getting Tom ready and cheering him on because you want him to go out there with the best energy.
No one said like, hey, TJ, man, you're the best one-on-one player that we have. Why don't you just,
you would think
grab an inhaler or, take a breath and
you would
get out there.
We would have. You would think
no one tried.
It didn't. It just like what I'm saying. It just happened so quick. It's just really hard to say what happened. It's like one of those things where you blink and something's happened, then you realize afterwards, and you're like, man, we just misplayed the situation, right?
I bet you he would have gone out there though. Someone was like, "We need you to step up, dude. I know you're tired."
I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think it was like I'm scared. I don't know what it was. I really don't. I think it was, maybe multiple things. And like I said, on first thought, like I said, Tom dominates people in one-on-ones and gunfights and stuff. I had no idea until he played on my team how good Tom really was. I'll be quite honest with you. I was very doubtful when he came on the team until he came on the team. And I was like, this dude is a stud. He's a stud. And so I think maybe just the fact that happens so often in practice, no one really thought twice about it. But we are not thinking about the intangibles, like I said, like the size of the pressure of the moment, the fact that he hadn't been playing, so he's cold coming off the bench, and just like these intangibles that no one's thinking about in the heat of the moment. And we made a snap, rash decision and put a lot of pressure on the guy. And of course, he goes out there and tries his best. And, I have no doubt that he's going to go out there and try and win it every time and has confidence. And I have confidence in him, and I'd put him in there too. But just with the realism of the situation, it was just kind of an unfortunate thing that didn't shake out. But hey, we should have won it in regulation. We should have won it in overtime. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. We didn't. We got beat, right? You know what I mean? So it really doesn't matter.
You got the next event. You got Chicago to redo it.
We do. And Damage has been playing good. I mean, we knew it was going to be a good game. Those guys are always good.
And you guys beat out Dynasty.
Yeah,
which was great to see.
They've been on a heater. Yeah, that's always good.
Been on a heater, and it's like you want to face a team like that in the final game, but it's also nice to kick them out.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, I'll knock them out early. Any tournament, any chance, any time.
So there is a lot to celebrate with this second place. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I know, but expect a little bit more.
And I know where you're coming from too.
Yeah, I could have done a little bit better. We all could have done a little bit better. We could have made better decisions, and we can just learn from those mistakes. But it's that kind of thinking and that kind of mentality that gets you to the level that all these guys are at. Everybody has that mentality. I guarantee you, if Damage lost that game, they'd be saying the same thing. We should have done this. Sure. We made this mistake here. They're analyzing every little opportunity that they miss.
Yeah, the wins hurt more than the losses hurt more than the wins feel good.
Oh yeah, definitely agreed. Yeah, after you win, you're kind of just like, yeah, well, we put the work in, and that's what's supposed to happen, and we did it. Good job. To happen. Right. Yeah. Then when you don't, it's like, oh no, look at all these things we did wrong.
Yeah, and you play every scenario over in your head, every point. What could have happened differently?
Right.
Well, give me a good memory. Let's not.
Okay, that's what we
blast.
Yeah, that's what we got.
What do you got?
I think probably, and that kind of brings into one of my, you told me to get a few cherished possessions. So
Yeah.
one great memory was going over to Europe with Impact and winning the tournament. That was great. But what was even cooler was getting to represent Team USA. There we go.
That is nice jersey.
2019. So this is one of the keepsakes. There's just something about number one, representing your country and knowing that a lot of people did a lot of things to get this country to where it is and made a lot of sacrifices. And to honor that legacy is super awesome. Also,
Yeah.
super awesome to play alongside guys that I've played against for years and years and years, guys that I look up to, peers that I admire. And now you get to play with them and represent your home country on foreign soil. That was super cool.
Amazing.
It was, yeah. So just the feeling of hearing the national anthem, standing out there and getting ready to play the Russians in the finals, it's just like the classic. It's just cool. And, we lost, but hey, it was still cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep. So silver medal, that's a great memory. Prague's a beautiful city, and one with Impact over there, which was also a cool experience. Again, playing with guys you've never played against, you get to see through a different lens what a winning team looks like. I've been on a winning team, my winning team, but to go in from a different winning team and kind of see how they do things and what their mannerisms are, it was also kind of a neat experience and super enjoyable.
Yeah. Who's your favorite player from another team?
Okay. What do you mean? Like playing ability wise, or like dude that I hang out with type thing?
Playing ability. Someone that you enjoy watching.
Oh, okay. Someone I enjoy watching. Oh man, there's a bunch of them. I definitely really enjoy watching. Not on my team. Okay. I think I like watching Chad George.
Yeah.
For a snake guy. I'm a classic kind of snake guy dude where I think like if you're a front snake dude, you get in there, you crawl down, you shoot two people, you get off the field. And that's like Chad and Billy. Those are the dudes. You could throw Mouse in there when he plays a snake, same kind of thing. Like those dudes know you get in there and you go kill people. And I love snake players like that. That's exciting to me. On the Dorito side, I like watching like Karslev. I think that he's super dynamic and does like just absurd runs in positions that most people don't do. He's attack, attack, attack. So it's great watching him, even though the Russians are just in such a sad state right now. It's hard to watch.
Yeah.
I was talking to Krill afterwards and I was like, dude, you guys are deadly silent out there. Like there isn't any communication at all going on in the field. And I think that that's their biggest problem right now. It's just like they're not connected at all. And it's hard to see such a fall from greatness, and I hope they turn it around because they're, a historical team of amazing players.
Sure.
And it's just hard to see them in the position they are. And I hope they fix that. And then I guess for like a back dude, J-Rab, I really like watching J-Rab play. And he's also one of my favorite non-paintball players that's not on my team people, because J-Rab and I play video games quite frequently. So as far as like a relationship with somebody that's not on my team. And then Tim Brusselback off the field is also another of my favorites. I'm a nerd, so we play Dungeons and Dragons, and Tim is a awesome
I just talked
DM. Tim's an awesome DM, so he's super fun. His dad comes in there, and yeah, we have a cool group that plays Dungeons and Dragons, like a real group of nerds.
Doesn't Tim look like Loki from the Marvel movies?
Oh yeah, he definitely does. Yeah, for sure.
I tried to convince him to like during the intro. I wanted to introduce him as Loki and have him talk like Loki, but he said he couldn't do the accent.
I don't believe
King
that.
Of the Hill. He told me he's like, I can do King of the Hill, and he was talking about propane and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
he's a funny dude.
Dude, he has one of these faces that looks like he could play like a vampire or like a wise elf or something. Like he has
or a D&D dungeon master. Which he does, but you should see some of the voices this dude does. That's why I laugh when you say
he only gave me one. He just gave me the
got
King
a bunch. He's written this He's written this whole campaign. They call it a homebrew where you write your entire thing. So he scripted the entire thing, all the characters, names, voices, personalities, and he acts them all out. So he's lying to you if he's telling you he can't act or voice act. He 100% can.
He just didn't want to do it on camera.
Probably, yeah.
What a dick.
Yeah. Oh, he can for sure.
Oh man. Come on, Tim. Holding out on me, man.
Yep, you have to get them back on.
What other cherished paintball items do you have?
Okay, I got a little grouping of things. Okay, so another one, obviously, another thing that I'd always wanted to do, championship.
Oh, a
See if I can look
ring.
at that. Yep, NXL championship ring, series champion. It's cool to win a tournament. It's even cooler to win a series because that takes a lot of consistency. So
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of a cherished possession. And to go along with that, Nike made us X Factor Air Force Ones,
Dang.
series champs with our names on them.
Holy shit.
I mean, so those are
fresh.
dope, right? Yeah, X Factor logo, they're clean.
And you don't wear them.
Absolutely not. No, showpiece.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I've got two more.
Well, where are you gonna wear them? You can't wear them at the field, you know.
Oh, yeah, they get ruined. So this was my first Pro Edition gun that I designed with Gino. Do you remember Gino from Infamous? So
yep.
Gino and I designed this gun. It's maybe hard to see.
And is that a Geo?
This is a Geo 3.5, my signature series. It has, to this day,
see the design. Let me see the design.
So it's kind of got the old school, like engraved Western.
Oh yeah, I got
like look to it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And this was so popular to this day. I still get calls, or not calls, but messages on Instagram, Facebook. Hey, do you still have your old edition 3.5? I'm like, yeah, dude, my personal one, and you're not getting it. One of these just sold the other day for like $1,500. A 3.5.
It's for sale. If
it's
someone
not. This is not for sale.
$5,000.
Absolutely not.
$5,000.
No way. That doesn't change my life. That's the way I look at things. Like, that does not change my life. That is a piece. That is an accomplishment and a trophy that I earned, and it's priceless to me. But
what if it was a fan? What if it was for your biggest fan?
My mom can have it. Anybody else? No. But what's even cooler is these literally just dropped. So we did a throwback.
Oh, I got a new one.
They're not even out yet. We just got them. CS3. Yes.
They're not even out. This is the first time people are seeing them right now on the show?
This is the first time anybody's ever seen this. Yes.
Wow. Thank you.
Now we have these at X Factor Paintball Park. You can reach out to me if you want one. Very limited edition. But
How many?
No one's ever seen. I think there's 12 at X Factor.
Oh, 12.
Something like that. I don't know what they're doing with the rest. Usually like ANS and those kind of guys will grab a couple. So there may be other avenues. I don't know. But yeah, no one has one yet. This is the first one, and this is the first time anybody's seeing it. So these are just about to drop.
What is it like, to commit your life to something, to paintball, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we've all been at the point where it's like we want to make it. We want to have this. We want to have a signature gun. We want to have a signature this, signature that. We want to be on this show, that show. What's it like to arrive and you have this gun with your name on it? It's your signature gun.
I think I'm kind of weird because that kind of stuff, like, I think it's super cool. Don't get me wrong. I think it's badass.
It's awesome. Yeah.
But in the same respect, like I am probably, if you ask anybody that's ever met me, I'm the most down to earth and normal. Like, I'm just a dude. Like, I literally don't act any different with you, with a fan, with another pro player, with anybody. I'm just who I am, and I stay true to myself, and I always have made it a point to do that. I never try and act like I'm better than anybody or put myself on a pedestal or do anything like that. So these types of things, while cool, really don't. That's not what gets me off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but just so
it's
you know,
cool.
They're also indicators that you are better than most. So
yeah,
you can't avoid that.
No, I mean, yeah, if you play in the pro league, there's what, 20 pro teams with a max of 10 players. You're in the top 200 people in the entire world at something. That's insane.
Yeah,
that's insane. It is.
Yeah.
So I'm not discounting, but I'm just saying, like, people don't even know that I do it because I don't go around telling anybody. They'll find out and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know you do this. I looked you up online. Oh my God, there's videos and stuff everywhere." I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Well, I had no idea. You never said anything." I'm like, "It didn't come up." I mean, I like just be like, "Hey, what's up? Nice to meet you. My name's Colt, and I play professional paintball." We know that opens a
Some
whole
people do that,
another. Of course they do, and that's cool too. If that's you and that's you. That's do you.
Yeah.
I'm cool with people doing themselves. Whatever's cool to you. As long as you ain't hurting anybody, you're all good, man.
I try to do that when I originally left paintball in 2007. I went to mortgages and I was telling people I played pro paintball, and they're like,
Mhm.
"Oh yeah, I love pinball." I'm like, "Oh okay, no paintball." They're like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
pinball. Pinball's great. I
Yeah.
got my grandma has a pinball machine," and it's like, okay, then no one
Yep.
cares. No one cares about my paintball
No
career.
one cares. Yeah. Nope. I always say ping pong because it like people know what that
Oh,
is.
ping pong, yeah, that's a great
And
one too.
we had Dixon on the team. He's Asian, so it worked out perfect way back in the day when Dixon would travel with me. And we'd have the whole group, and it'd be like, "Yeah, you're professional ping pong players," and he would be the pro, and we would be
Yeah.
his entourage, of course, because white people are just not good at ping pong. You got to be
No,
Asian
they're
to be
not.
really good at ping
Not
pong.
compared to the Asians.
No way.
No.
No, I
You
know
don't
my
have the
limitations.
reflexes.
Not even
Yeah.
close. No. So that was always a fun one, just to kind of like joke with people. We would never really admit what we did because, if you tell somebody paintball, then you hear I froze paintball stories, and it's like, all right, dude,
Yeah.
yeah, you did, or I know a pro paintball player. Oh, do you? What's his name? Because I know probably everyone that's ever played in the pro league for 20 years.
Yeah.
So what's his name? Oh, really? Never heard of him. Weird. It's just like
You know what's
everybody's
funny is
pro
like
and whatever.
the frozen paintball story. It's like, how could a story possibly be so prevalent? That's not possible, right?
Right.
Like that's why every time we hear it, we're like, oh, like roll
Right.
our eyes and stuff. But why? How come everyone that knows about paintball has a frozen paintball story?
I think it's because that people feel the want to connect to somebody and have a common ground, and that
Yeah.
is just the one thing that jumps into your mind when you hear paintball when you have no experience with it or what it is, right? So
Yeah.
I think it's like, oh yeah, I can relate to you now, and that's my way of relating to you. But they don't understand that it's such a belligerently foolish story that it
Yeah.
literally scientifically doesn't happen, and the paint would get
Yeah.
so brittle it instantly break anyway. That we're looking at them like they're idiots, and they think that they've just like we just connected.
Yeah.
You and me, we connected now because I have a frozen paintball story and you play paintball.
Well, it gets really interesting when you try to explain that. No, if you freeze them, they get more brittle and you
Right.
can't shoot them. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
I know they're
No,
frozen like
my cousin
marbles.
did it. Yeah, they're like marbles. My cousin did it. All right, yeah. Oh, that's cool, man. Be careful with that. It's dangerous. Yeah, there's certain you don't die on certain hills, and that's not one I'm dying on. I just
True.
let it go, because it's
Colt,
coming from a good place, I guess.
yeah, they're trying to, like you said, they're trying to connect, trying to relate. So
Right.
I'm gonna look at it from that perspective next time I'm talking to someone at the airport.
That's where it always happens, man.
Yeah,
On the
exactly.
flight. Yep.
Colt, what advice would you give to any new players that, let's say, your paintball Kumite audience? What advice would you give them?
Play people better than you, number one. And I think that's the most important thing. Don't be the schoolyard bully because you don't learn anything from that. Number two, I would say watch. You can learn an entire amount of skills from watching professional players, analyzing, like you said, the mindset of the game and the field vision and the movement and timing. That's all so important. And if you look at it from that lens when you're analyzing a professional match and say like, why did he make that move? What was the situation that was happening in that time frame that allowed him and caused him to make this decision? If you start analyzing things that way, your mental IQ, your paintball IQ is going to go way up, and that's really where you're going to start to see leaps and bounds. Is understanding when and why, instead of just like like I always try and tell my guys, the most important thing is, are you in an advantageous gunfight? That's the first thing that should go through your mind. If you're about to snap out on somebody for whatever reason or shoot at them, are you in advantage or are you in disadvantage? Now, that doesn't mean just because you're in disadvantage, you don't take a gunfight. That's not the case, because there are certain situations where, say, for instance, I'm playing a 2 position, and I know that if a guy gets to the 50 Dorito, he basically is going to kill 2 guys instantly, right? Because this position's so strong, my snake side's exposed from that spot, and I know that's the death bunker. And if he gets there, we're in trouble. I'm going to take a disadvantageous gunfight in that situation. I'm going to ride or die and make sure this dude does not make it through there. On the contrary, maybe I know that if he moves to this particular bunker that he's not going to shoot anybody, and it makes no difference. As long as I let my guys know that he makes it, no big deal. Well, then if I'm in a disadvantageous gunfight, then let him have that spot, because a couple things happen there. Number one, I don't battle out into my death, okay, which is way more troublesome than him moving one spot and me still being alive. Dying is terrible. Number two, when someone moves, that's a window. That's a window of opportunity. Now I can counter move. My front player can counter move. Certain situations can change. Maybe he's dropped his zone on the snake side now because of that. And all these things, dynamics change on the field when that happens. So maybe I want to let him move. There's certain times that that's even a thing. So I think as you're playing, recognize situations like that. Number one, am I in an advantageous or disadvantageous gunfight? Is my bunker better to gunfight out of? Am I fighting out of a small Dorito with one side to come out of that's slanted? Probably a bad bunker to gunfight out of when a dude's in a temple that can pop up in 8 different spots, right? If you're the guy in the temple, then you have advantage. If you have a better angle on somebody and they only have one spot to come out of, you have an advantage. These are the types of things that you always need to analyze when you're playing. Am I at advantage or disadvantage? And then make a
decision. Should I be gunfighting or not?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the detriment to me letting this guy move? What is the advantage to me really, putting control on this guy is an advantage. There's also situations too where, how often do you see, especially in the divisional things, it still happens in the pro league too, don't get me wrong, but you get a guy up in like a center 50 unseen, and then he's looking snake way, and then the 2 on the snake side is just gun battling and dominating everybody on the snake side, standing over his bunker and just mowing. Well, now you've wasted your center guy. He's just sitting there doing absolutely nothing. He's not communicating because he's unseen. He's not shooting anybody because I'm sitting there dominating my guy so hard that he'll never have a chance to shoot anybody. Like that happens all the time. And I try and tell my guys, it's like, check off on your dude. And this play's set up for that situation. You got to let the guy go. But then you can't be too obvious about it either, right? I can't just all of a sudden be battling you and all of a sudden I go away. Like that's like, man, spidey senses go off. Something's weird. It's too easy. So there's a finesse aspect to that too. That's, again, situational stuff that you learn by being an old salt in the game, and you learn these kind of tactics. But that's the kind of stuff that makes the difference, not how good your gunfighting skills are.
Yeah, it's your intuition, it's your experience, it's what to do in specific situations.
Yep.
It's that ancient secret knowledge.
There you go. Ancient secret knowledge. And learn to shoot on break.
Yeah.
The number one, if you want a skill to work on, learn to shoot on break.
Kill someone quickly.
Most important thing. Yeah. Yep.
Give your team an advantage.
That's right. And it's
4
a
on
huge
5
advantage.
Off the break.
Huge advantage.
Just do it.
Yes. So if you guys want to go run drills, shoot on break.
Any books you would recommend?
Definitely. So for like a cool book that like will show you what a true bad motherfucker is like, read Breathe by Rickson Gracie. Okay, he was the family champion of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and like I used to think I was kind of tough, not like I could beat people up, but just like mentally tough and physically tough, and like adverse to things bringing me down. But then you read a book by a guy that is really tough, and you realize you're not tough. That dude is bad. So I definitely recommend reading that. Super interesting story, very inspirational, and just to see the mindset of a guy like that and the champion is really cool.
Dude, I'm looking at the cover right now, and he's on the cover breathing, and I can tell that I've never breathed the way that he's breathing.
Absolutely not. No, there's a whole, you haven't, neither have I. Those guys believe very much in breathing techniques, and there's a thing called Wim Hof breathing, which is a super like revolutionary breathing system. These dudes do like the ice bath stuff where they every day jump in the ice. Like there's all sorts of stuff. They have their own diet, the Gracie diet, where they only eat certain things and won't eat other things. They're insane. Super cool family.
Just ordered it.
Yeah, definitely. You'll enjoy it. And then beyond that, if you want something that's like fiction, I like high fantasy stuff because like I told you earlier, I'm a nerd. Yeah, total nerd. I'm proud of it though.
Of course.
The Way of Kings, Brandon Sanderson.
The Way of Kings.
Yeah.
And this is a
it's a series. It's a series. It's called the Stormlight Archives. Probably the best high fantasy book you can read. And if you're not super nerdy like me, like that kind of nerd, then if you're just kind of nerdy, then Ready Player One audiobook, amazing.
Well, there's a movie, so
movie's good, but it's different and it doesn't ruin reading the book. The movie is actually a pretty good adaptation because I read the book first and then watched the movie, and I will tell you that they're both good, but the audiobook, the voice acting in it is awesome, the story's great, and it's quite a bit different than the movie.
I really enjoyed the movie, but I enjoy audiobooks too, so I'll check that one out.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember who narrated that. Who narrated that? Ready? It's an actor. It was.
Will Wheaton.
Yes, thank you. But you know who Will Wheaton is, right?
Yeah.
He's the guy
He's
from
the guy
Star
from
Trek.
Star Trek.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's what's his name?
Will.
Will. Yeah.
Yeah. Will from Star
Yeah.
Trek.
Yeah.
So I think those were the three. If I were just to have to throw some out there that I know people are going to like, if you like those kind of genres, that would be. And then if you want something like for a spiritual journey, final recommendation,
Yes.
The Alchemist,
Oh, I gotta
Paulo
read that.
Coelho. Fantastic book. Probably my favorite book of all time. It's just transcendental and such a cool story. Obviously, you've read it, so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, great one.
Great one.
Yeah, great picks here. I appreciate it.
Let me know what you think. Report back.
I will.
Let me know.
I will. So, Colt, how do you want to be remembered in paintball?
Just as a fierce competitor and an overall good dude. That's really somebody that never quit, never gave up, never scared to go out there if you're down 10-0 and there's 30 seconds left, knowing that I'm gonna go get some and do my best to do that. And that somebody that's approachable and willing to give back. I think that's like the most important thing, is that if someone talks about me, they're like, oh, great dude, always willing to help and just share his knowledge and be humble and cool. You know, that's what I want to do. I don't care about any accolades or anything like that.
Well, I think you're already known for those things, so it's easy to be remembered for those things. You know?
All right, then success. Then I'll retire happy.
What are you most thankful for that paintball's given you?
I think the opportunity to challenge myself against the literal best in the world is something that not a lot of people are able to do in their life, which I think is super cool. You can get really good at a lot of things, but still not really be at the pinnacle and the very upper echelon. So I think that's kind of a cool thing. I've gotten to travel around the world and meet all different walks of life, which I think is really cool about paintball. It's kind of like a tossed salad as opposed to a melting pot. You know, you have all this random people in here that do different things: doctors, lawyers, thugs, drug dealers, whatever. And really all that just kind of gets forgotten, right? And it's not important when you're together at paintball. It's just you're a paintball family, and it doesn't matter if you're black, white, green, Christian, Muslim, Buddhist. I mean, none of that stuff. It just seems to like paintball kind of melts away all the external things that society kind of puts on us, and it really doesn't matter to anybody. We're just kind of have a common ground that everybody sees eye to eye in for the most part.
Yeah,
so I think that's kind of cool.
Instant friendship.
It is, yeah, it really is. So I think that's cool. And then obviously traveling the world and going places that I wouldn't have been able to go, wouldn't have the opportunity to go and see different cultures and different places has been super cool. So I would say those are the things I'm most thankful for.
Best place you've traveled?
I think for the general populace, I would probably recommend Prague if you want to go to Europe, because the architecture is absolutely stunning. The people are very friendly, a lot of English speaking there, and the food's pretty good. So I think Prague's neat. And then I love Monterrey, Mexico. That's probably my favorite place, but that's a little bit more party, and Mexico can get a little wild. So it's like maybe not the best family destination, but it's beautiful. The people there are super awesome. The food's great. The culture's really neat. So those are probably my two favorite places that I've been. But there's a lot of places I haven't gone that I want to go. I want to go to Japan. I think Japan will be on the top of one of my favorite places, and I really want to go to Australia or New Zealand. Either one of those places I think would be super, super cool too.
Yeah, I definitely want to go to Australia. Japan, I've just been to the airport, so I want to go there too.
Yeah.
The airports are awesome. Great toilets, you know.
Yeah. I mean, my dad's been to Japan, and he says it's absolutely immaculate. People are the most respectful people you could ever meet. It's clean and beautiful. Just the terrain's gorgeous. Golf courses are beautiful. I love to play golf. So yeah, Japan.
Cool. Well, Colt, man, thank you so much for your time here.
Of course.
Is there anything that you'd like to part with for the paintball community?
Thank you for taking time out of your day and doing what you do and giving a voice and a platform to meet some of the people that people look up to or are curious about. That's super cool. And we need people like you doing this kind of stuff to keep it fresh and interesting. We really need to try and grow the sport organically in a cool way. And hopefully one day, people will be making real money as opposed to me that, played my whole life and have nothing but memories, which are the most important to show for it. But financially and
sure.
monetarily, we're just not where we could be or should be. And I hope that maybe my generation will pave the way for this to be something that one day will be an Olympic sport and something that people will get paid tons of money to do. And maybe I can coach at that time. That'd be cool.
Awesome. Thank you, Colt.
Thank you.